I'll be honest. I'm sitting here just going, I need to start this podcast, but like this is just such a harsh topic. I don't really want to like barge in and be like, podcast.
No, we should not. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
I totally could just like ambush us here and just like throw us into the podcast. Like, so this is the an episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast for January 23rd, 2022. I'm your host, Blind. This is like our second episode of this, if we want to number them. I don't know if we're going to do the numbering thing. Some people do, some people don't. I think it's a little silly. If we could just have like names, that's better. But once again, I'm Blind. I'm hosting, and I'm just going to pass this off to FGsquared. How are you doing today?
Are we actually going? Yeah. Sorry.
No, we're not going. No, absolutely not. This is not live. Hi, I am FGsquared, also known as FG. It's much shorter, sweeter. I'm doing pretty good. Getting tired because it's getting late here, but not too bad. And how about you, Suwey?
Yeah, hi, I'm Suwey. I've been having fatigue problems because I had COVID earlier this month, so that's fun. I've been kind of AWOL from my stream and everything, which has been super fun. Yeah, I'm also a full-time student. Cool stuff. Hey, Belle, how are you?
I am tired. I'm not called Belle, or Belannaer, I guess, for longer. And, yeah. It's the dark time of the year in Finland, so sun is somewhere in November and maybe comes up in February or something, so sleeping's been kind of weird because everything just blurs into one big, long, dark day.
Do you call it a long dark day, or is it more of a long night? Like
no, it doesn't really have a name. Like the opposite side of the year has the sun doesn't go down at all in the summertime, so that's called the nightless night, or yötön yön in Finnish.
Huh, that's interesting. Yeah, because like I don't need to go that much further north here to like actually get that. Like it's kind of funny whenever people look at like Canada on like a latitude and longitude scale, and they're just like, man, you're like really close to Northern Europe. It's like, yeah, we're not that far away. I only need to go like 8 hours north for that. Like not even like 6 hours, and we'll like get like a sun that doesn't go down and barely comes up.
Oh yeah, I mean like the actual like globes and like the actual map projections, they're super duper off. Like I mean Boston, which is like pretty northern, U.S., is south of Paris. If you were to locate it on a European map. So
yeah, most of Europe is basically up from U.S. Like none of it really hits the U.S. at all. It's like mostly in Canada.
Yeah, it's real funny when like you just when you look at a map and it just looks like and then you put it on a ball and you're like, wait a second, this doesn't quite check out. But
yeah.
Yeah.
What's the words? No, like, yeah, I guess it's just really funky because all the sizes are wrong and where they are located is wrong, and
it's like
stuff is stretched and squished, and
Greenland looks bigger than any other continent.
Yeah, and it's not.
Same with Finland, looks like super long, even though it's not that long.
Finland's tiny.
Whoever came up with that idea, honestly.
What, flattening
Let's just
the
make it
planet?
flat.
Well, I mean, you have to stretch it in one way. There's all kinds of different maps for different things, and they all stretch it differently. So there's some that are will make the ocean bigger and will actually make the size of each landmass the right size. There's ones that are the normal one we're used to seeing. I think that's called Mercator. Let me Google
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I failed geography, so don't ask me.
Yeah, some of them are great, like the one that flips the planet upside down, because we decided that this is up and this is down, but you could also just have it the other way, and the world looks so weird when you flip it upside down.
Don't they do that in Australia? Does. Like they have their maps are just like flipped?
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Because I swear I've seen that before, and it's just like maybe someone was pulling my leg. I don't know.
Yeah, it is Mercator. That's the one that everyone is used to. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But that's the one everyone's used to seeing, and it like makes the southern pole very, very huge.
It does, yeah.
And there were a few other things, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Like I think Greenland is actually way smaller than it looks on that map.
Yep. Should look at pictures
all
of it
the
from
northern
space.
parts look really weird.
Yeah, and Canada looks smaller than it is, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously.
But I mean, I guess that's what happens if you take a 3D object and you try to like put the surface on a 2D object. It just gets wonky. It's just how it is.
I mean, to
There's
talk
also-
about video games, I mean, it's the reason Dwarf Fortress's map is flat is because you can't like make a tile-based thing into a sphere. It's mathematically impossible, which is kind of interesting how Dyson Sphere program does it, but because they cheat.
Yeah, they're gonna cheat though.
There is
Yeah, they cheat, yeah.
the map that has like the weird. How do you explain it? It's like, oh my gosh, my brain isn't working. But it's the one that's basically circles. You know,
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, now
I'm
I'm suddenly
struggling to-
curious.
describe it. It's like you have. Well, they're more of like orange slices.
Orange slices.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've
I
seen
think I know
those.
what you're
Yeah.
talking about now.
Yeah,
like kind
the
of a
orange
spiral.
slice.
It's kind of like a spiral almost.
No, it's more of an orange slice.
All right, maybe I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know
Um,
either.
Hold on, let me Google this.
Oh, wait, it's like a flat picture of the map, but instead of like just being like a square where everything's all connected, it like shows the connective tissue where like it would fall down into a sphere, but they had to cut it.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I have no idea what it's called.
Yeah,
The
okay.
Thing.
I have a spider bite on my arm, and it's driving me insane.
Oh, there's a bunch of different ones.
Ouch.
Time to burn down your house, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. I mean,
That's
it's
what Kiri would say.
it is that time of the year where all the spiders try and get inside, and I like sleep.
What, where
with
you
my window.
burn down houses because of
Really?
spiders.
We're way past that. Like, I haven't seen a single spider in so long, but like, I don't know. I'd say like November. It felt like every time we went to the front door, right? Because we're living in a trailer temporarily.
So
Uh,
up here we have these. You may have had them where you used to live, Suey, but up here we have these things called black cave spiders, and they're about the size of the palm of your hand.
No, we had like the giant
And-
brown house spider.
So,
And they
does
just
this-
climb into your house and try and hide in corners. They're actually like great to have around, but like they are terrifying and huge. They survive through the winter, or into the winter, large period of time into the winter by hiding in caves. And they consider houses caves, so like I have to boot them out of my house all the time at this time of year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've come across them many times, but yeah, we kept having black widows at the front door to the house.
oh, fun.
Yeah, see,
Yeah,
I
November.
have to go up to like Kamloops to see those because like they need a dry climate. It rains too much here for them.
Yeah, it's super dry here. I mean, I'm in the desert, so.
Yeah, Kamloops is the nearest desert to here.
Oh, okay.
Every time I go
got
to Kamloops, I end up like, as my dad puts it, making out with a cactus. Because every single time I've ever been to Kamloops, I've stepped on a cactus, fell on a cactus, tripped on a cactus, stubbed my toe on a cactus, or like sat down on a cactus. So I hate
That's
cactuses.
a lot of cactus. Yeah,
Cactuses
that's
are
a lot of
terrible.
cactus.
They're not fun. Here we just have the cactus.
That's why I
club.
love living up here in the frozen north, so that
Yeah.
the bugs die. You get the 6 months of snow, so you don't have any of these horrible spiders and other things.
Yeah, it's
So nice.
wonderful. I've told people it's like the reason I refuse to like live any further south is because bed bugs become a problem. And it's like up here, like they're kind of a problem, but not anywhere near as much of a problem as if you're even slightly south. Like if you go like 4 to 5 hours south, it's like something you have cockroaches, you have bed bugs become a major problem, and like all of these other like such things are it's just terrible. Anyway, I guess I will need to insert an arachnophobia warning at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah,
because,
very
like,
likely.
Yeah.
that's okay. Editor's note, can do that.
I mean, what you can do is just
Timestamp
at
it?
one point, timestamp and tell them, hey, at this point we're done.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll just
Yeah.
put a warning.
Yeah.
There's no visual issues. It's just like the discussion of terrifying things.
I mean, it still made me cringe.
I don't know. I am
But-
the opposite of arachnophobic, so it like
I
flies over my head.
also like remembered a time when there was a giant spider above my bed and I was sleeping in a bunk bed, so it was like
It's
3
making
feet away
you
from
cringe,
my
and you're the one
face.
keeping it going.
Yeah.
I was trying to change the subject on that.
Oh god, that does sound actually. That sounds.
And that's what I was thinking about
like,
when he was talking about those spiders, though. 'Cause
Well, I mean,
yeah, it's not. Sorry, go ahead.
the cave spiders here actually aren't that dangerous. They're just kind of
scary.
They're scary looking. They're actually really delicate. Like you bump them and they fall apart. It's kind of sad.
Ugh.
But
yeah, I think with the story what you said there with the bed, it's not necessarily that it's like the spider immediately like scaring you. It's more like because it's a spider, but it's also just like startling, right? It just suddenly appears and it's like right there, and it's just like ah.
Yeah, and I was about to turn off my light to go to sleep.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. It's like the surprise.
I don't see very well, right? And when I moved into this apartment, there's sprinklers on the ceiling in this apartment because like sprinklers in apartments are on the ceilings, and the sprinklers in this apartment look kind of funky. They're like kind of new. So like you know how like the indoor sprinklers normally look? They kind of are like a black object sort of, or like a darker colored object, and they have like kind of a sprinkler. These ones are a little bit longer. And with my glasses off, if I'm like the right level of intoxicated, they look like spiders.
Oh no.
And I've definitely had like a few moments where like I've woken up in the middle of the night and been like, what is that? For like 10 seconds, and then just like put my glasses on, like, oh, okay. It's just a sprinkler. I've definitely had that moment.
No, that's perfect.
It's kind of terrible, but it's also kind of incredible, honestly. Like, oh,
It's kind of funny.
but yeah, at this point, it's just something I've gotten used to more or less. Like, it doesn't happen much these days, but you know, now it's just trying to keep spiders out of my houseplants.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have not completely like airtight like window frames, and we're in a bungalow, so there is like, you know, the house is right on the dirt. There is no basement, so we get all sorts of critters just wandering in because it's just right there. It's just right there. Like I don't think I've ever seen so many wood lice inside, and snails. We get snails wandering in.
For whatever it's worth, I read an article a while ago, and I kind of stand by this, and that's if there are bugs crawling into your house or apartment or space of living, it just means that the microbiome outside is healthy. Like, it literally just means that there is not a lot of pesticides outside and things are staying alive, which is good. We need that.
I don't mind it either. I mean, spiders are friends. They eat mosquitoes.
What about a giant cat trying to sneak into your house every time you open the door?
Giant cat. Last I checked, those are not even a natural species to where any of us live. So, in fact, that's an invasive species, and you should probably report it to local authorities.
Oh, really? But it's so sweet.
That depends. Does it like make demands of you for like food and things?
For pets.
Well, that seems like it's holding you hostage.
Yeah, that does sound like a bad situation.
Yeah, no. It's the sweetest cat, but like every time we open the door to the trailer, it like books it in. And I'm allergic to cats. So Suwey has to pick it up. And then, of course, when he picks it up, he gives us some ear scratches and some attention and is super happy. And then we just have to chuck it out.
I think you've been officially adopted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Apparently, also his cat that's inside the house, yeah, apparently it doesn't like people, except it does nothing but rub up against my legs. So, even though I'm allergic.
Is this one of those cats where it doesn't like people, but is like, or hates all people that are not girls, or one of those situations? Because I've met cats like that before.
Because like Suwey's grandma lives in there, and then like Suwey's dad is in there all the time, and the cat just ignores them. But then I come in and it's like, hi.
Okay, maybe you're just new.
No, this cat is scared of new people. It just likes me. I mean, I'm also the only person that will play with it.
I think you
'Cause we
figured
got, like,
out
a
the
little-
situation.
We got one of those like little things on a string that you like bounce around the room, and the cat's like, oh, thing, and yeah.
It always seems like the cats and dogs and everything. The more allergic you are to them, the more they like you.
Dude.
Definitely.
Cats love
Like
me.
I'm also very allergic to anything with hair, and it's like friend, and I'm dying.
Same! But then you have to pet them anyway because they're so cute.
Yes. And then your eyes itch and you can't breathe, and
your eyes are all
all
itchy and red and.
My neighbor across the apartment building that I live in has this disabled cat, and its back. It was in an accident when it was like a younger kitty, and its back was shattered. And it's about 7 years old approximately. They don't know his exact age, but so he has no movement in his back legs. So they tried to build a wheelchair for it, but this cat like completely refuses to build a wheelchair. The guy who lives there, he is paid to live there by his Chinese parents, to just like babysit their apartments in the area, housing problems. But anyway, he lives over there, and one of the things he does is he takes care of this cat, which he rescued from the like local shelters, and literally like he takes it out for walks every evening. Almost rain or shine. He didn't when there was snow, but like he'll just wrap a towel around its back legs and hold it, and it just this is a big like tom cat, like a big like not a tabby, but like kind of a darker like multicolored cat. And he just like walks this cat around, and it'll like be a cat. It'll like jump up onto the edge thing with like 2 legs, and he'll like just like ferry it around with like this towel around its back legs, and like pick him up and like place him like butt first into the garden and like let him poop, like bury his crap, put him back in, pick him up, walk him around again. It's even funnier when like the other cats will come outside, because there's like a lot of cats that kind of live in this area. It's like this community of cats. They all get along. It's very rare that we'll have cat fights, but this cat will like pick fights with every other cat he sees. Sees another cat, walks right up to it, hisses at him, and bats him in the face. It's very funny. Don't mess with that old Tom, but I think we're gonna quickly jump to a break here, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing over the last week or so, and then after that, we're gonna get into some of the biggest news stories of video games in ever. So, see you when we get back from the break.
Hello there. My name is Trick, or better known as Evil Trick. I couldn't make it in today's podcast, but I do stream on Twitch Thursday to Mondays, 13 Central European time. So maybe see you there, else might see you in the next podcast.
And we are back. I hope that you enjoyed your brief break from our nonsensical nattering. This is, of course, the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, and we're going to be talking about a couple of games, and I think Suwey or Belannaer could take this first one, which is Epic Chef.
Yeah, so we both played this before 2022, but I know that we both played it, and we have very different opinions on it. I know that we have different opinions, even though I haven't talked to Belle about it, like with Belle about it. But my chat has been telling me about his experience with it, so yeah. Basically, I wanted to say that I really liked the game, except I didn't really enjoy the cooking mechanic, and then it just overstayed its welcome, and it was so sad.
So,
but
from the outside looking in, I know absolutely nothing about this
no.
game. So could you give us like a 10-second rundown for anybody who maybe hasn't heard of the game or knows nothing about the game?
It's an RPG game where you like source your ingredients by like farming it up or getting it from wherever, and then you get 3 ingredients and you put it into a dish and cook, right? And it's an RPG, and there's like lots of wacky stuff. There's some pretty wacky humor in it, and yeah. Belle, how would you?
Yeah, I would say it's like a Monkey Island game with some really bad cooking mechanics at it. Like the story stuff and everything is like amazing. Like if you like Monkey style of humor, it's like really really good. But like you said, that the whole cooking mechanic, even though it's called like Epic Chef, it's fun like for 5 minutes or something, and then it gets really really tiring, especially towards the end of the game.
Dude, I didn't mind it at first, but then when you had to cook to level up, like you get these like experience points but you can't actually level up until you eat a dish. And like the properties of that dish change how well you can level up. And so if you cook a really good dish, then you can like jump like 3 levels at once you have the experience points all built up. But if you cook a bad one, you won't even get a single level, and it was just a pain.
Yeah, especially for cooking one of those really good dishes, you need a lot of the high quality ingredients, which require a lot of grinding. That's really annoying, especially any of the higher tier like meat products from the animals are like just pain in the butt.
So how does the cooking mechanic work exactly?
It's basically just a mini game where you throw 3 ingredients. Yeah, 3 ingredients and a sauce into the pan. Sauce is optional, basically. It gives like multipliers and things. And you have like Suwey said, there's 3 different colored like kind of experience things on the food as well. And different ingredients give you like different amounts of those. And then they have like if you put this ingredient with this other ingredient, you get a multiplier with that or extra points and so on. So you have to kind of match 3 different ingredients to get as good a dish as possible. And then you chuck a sauce in there, which gives you like a 5 times for this one specific ingredient. And in the cooking battles, then you need to make a dish that has like one of these really high and so on.
Yeah, and one thing, so you can kind of think of it as the 3 different properties, I guess you can add are like different flavors. Let's say like spice, savory, and sweet, you know? I could never actually figure out what they were supposed to be though. Like the red one I think was some sort of spice, or like maybe not spice, but like robustness. But yeah, anyway, so do you agree with me then, Belle, that it was really good but it just overstayed its welcome?
Yeah, absolutely. And like when you get to like the competitions, like you have to first beat the bronze tier and silver tier and so on. Those get really tiring, especially because they have this mechanic in the game. Like they have a like box showing that this is the kind of dish you need to cook in this combat, but it doesn't show you that until you unlock a specific person who gives you this information. So most of the games you have to go into the cooking battle, see the requirements because you see it in the actual battle as well. Then you have to bail out from the combat. Then you go get the materials.
You forgot something. The cutscene to see what those requirements are is not skippable. So you have to sit through like a 45 second to 1 minute cutscene. That's not skippable to find that out. And then if you happen to forget, you have to do it again.
Yes, which I did a lot of times.
Yeah.
And there's 4 leagues, 12 matches each, with multiple rounds on some of them that you have to all do and remember. Plus all the other fighting that you have to do as well. It gets really, really tiring very quickly.
Yeah.
I just went through it because I wanted to see the story. And the story is also written in a really interesting way that it feels like, okay, this is the ending. No, it's not. This is the ending. No, it's not. This is the ending. No, it's not. So you just keep going and going and going.
I actually gave up at one point. I think it was like, I don't know, 30, 40 hours in. I was just like, dude, I'm done. I don't want to grind anymore. And my chat just found the end stuff and was like, here, watch this. So we just watched a YouTube video of the end cutscenes together.
Yeah.
Because I was just
there was
so
at one
done.
point,
but like,
yeah, I was almost as well. Like I took like 50-something hours to finish it.
I'm so angry.
I'm happy I did it because I really enjoyed the story. But a lot of the menial tasks that you have to do to get there could be streamlined a lot.
Also, they forced you to do all the side quests. I got to a point where I literally couldn't progress because I didn't do a side quest that I thought I didn't have to do. And then I just couldn't unlock a thing because I didn't do some side quest that's like not even related remotely to it. It was so dumb.
To get the final ending, you have to do literally everything in the game.
Which is so
and you get
stupid.
this like other kind of ending cutscene feel all part of the story already, and it's like, okay, I'm done, and then these are probably gonna be just the leftover additional things I can do, but no, they force you to do that to get the final ending.
Yep. And it's like, I'm not a completionist. I don't want to sit there and do the entire game. Let me just enjoy the story, enjoy the parts I like, and move on. I have other games to play.
Yeah, I was hoping as well that they were like, okay, if you want to get the achievement for these, you can do them, but you don't have to. But then it turns out you had to.
And I'm just so sad because, like, that game had so much potential. And, like, as I was playing, I was like, oh, I'm having a great time. And then it just kept dragging on. And it's like, it could have been so good.
Yeah, you get like the farming mechanic and the cooking mechanic in the game, like in the first hour or two, and then it really doesn't progress from that in any way.
No.
It still does just same thing for the next 50 hours so that you keep doing.
Yeah, and then at one point they give you a restaurant and you're like, ooh, I get to use some like restaurant management. No. No.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, this is gonna be cool, and I'm gonna have a restaurant, and I get to build things in there and dress it up and everything. Then you put a couple tables in there and a couple dishes in the menu, and that's it.
But from the outside looking in, that game kind of looks like something that was very ambitious, but just sort of like missed. Like, I mean, as much like just listening to your guys' conversation, it sounds like you both had a lot of problems with the game, but like, was there things that you liked it enough about it that like made you stick with it? Like, was it just the story?
The story and the characters really like. They are really, really well done. Like it feels like almost different people made the story and everything, and then someone else made the game.
I enjoyed the process of grinding out all the materials. It's just I hated the cooking, so when it got to the actual cooking, I was like, But I had a ton of fun just getting a bunch of like storage chests and filling them with all the different ingredients.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Like compared to many other like similar like farming games or like Stardew Valley and everything, you don't need to do the same level of farming. You get the stuff you need very quickly.
Also, like, it's one of those games where you kind of like turn your brain off for a while, and then all of a sudden something weird happens, and you're like, okay, I gotta find this out, you know? So the story is pretty good, and it's just like there is a good sense of adventure because there's new places to go and stuff for quite a long time.
Kind of the takeaway I have from listening to you two talk about this is if I want to play a cooking RPG, I'm gonna play Battle Chef Brigade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't play it for the cooking. Play it for the story.
Yeah.
Or watch the story on YouTube. Or something.
Yeah.
The story is that good. You literally should watch it if you don't play it.
Fine.
But Battle Chef Brigade is much better. It doesn't overstay its welcome at all, and I like its mechanics better too. Honestly.
Yeah. Like they could have had a lot of really good, interesting mechanics in there if they actually evolved the cooking in some other way. Like you literally get 3 ingredients, and that's the basic cooking, and then you get sauce added to it, and that's it. That's all of the cooking.
Oh, and I hated the fishing.
They could have definitely did a lot more of that.
Belle, the fishing.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's one another thing. I really, really, really hated the fishing.
So it's a JRPG.
They needed some better.
It was Stardew fishing, but terrible.
I was just going to ask, on a scale from Stardew fishing to good fishing, how terrible was the fishing?
It's
Stardew,
like
but terrible.
Fishing, but absolutely terrible.
Okay.
How do you make it worse than that?
Yeah.
You just do.
If you play the Stardew Valley, you have the bobber going up and down when you need to match like the fisher to get the fisher, and you have the bar going up that you're catching it. This has the exact same mechanic, but the controls and how it moves is like absolutely insane, and there is like no relation to how you are controlling it. It just goes wherever it wants.
Yeah, and there's no audio cues. It's just an awkward silence while you're doing it, and you have to have like really good focus. It takes forever.
Well, I'm glad that I did not get into that game because I tried that game for around 2 hours because I actually had a sponsored segment for this game. I think it was 2 hours, maybe 1 hour. And I didn't really feel it at the time, and it was always like maybe I'll get back to this eventually. But then I watched Belle play, and Belle was always kind of like, nah. Yeah, and then now I hear that.
Did you meet the carpenter?
No, I don't think I did.
The carpenter.
No.
Yes, that's the point that I really like. I love this game. Like when you meet the carpenter, that's when I'm sold.
Okay, yeah, no, I didn't get that far.
For me, honestly, it was probably just when you meet the golem, because I was like, ooh, mystical fantasy stuff. Okay.
Oh, and the Chef Knight guy. That's also amazing.
I wasn't as big on that. Anyway.
For me, I took one look at that game and then looked at Belannaer's hour count and was like, nah. I think, like, if that game was like 4 hours, I could see myself playing through it, but like 50?
Okay, 10. 10 hours would have been perfect for that game. Get rid of making us do the side quests.
The story content is like probably 30 hours of that. Like there's a lot of grinding when doing the cooking, but there is a lot of story in that game. Like actually a lot of hours.
But make it so we don't have to do any side quests if we don't want to, and boom.
Yeah, casual mode where you just skip all of the nonsense. And
it's like 20 hours. You do that 20 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That's and already it'd be long.
Perfect.
It's like I play video games for a living, and that feels long. I don't know.
I start tapping out around like 40 hours, usually 30 to 40.
I don't have that kind of endurance for that type of game. I don't think.
Okay, but I'm an RPG fan. Like that's my favorite genre is RPGs, right?
Yeah, you want the game to last for a long time.
No, it's more of I enjoy.
Hi, cat. The game But like the cat is protesting because the cat sees paparazzi in the dock and is going,
Yep.
No, but I enjoyed like the questing and stuff and the story and all that. So I'm just a huge RPG fan. I like all the elements of it, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when you combine it with like Stardew Valley style, like a grinding farming thing, I really enjoy that type of things as well. But I need some kind of like a proper progression on it, and this just didn't really have it in the same way.
Well. That's unfortunate, but like it did seem like there was some things to like about that. And once again, like we've been discussing Epic Chef, which is available on many video game platforms where video games are purchased. Is there anything kind of you guys want to say as like a closing thoughts on Epic Chef before we move on to the next thing?
We just wish it was faster. It could be so much better.
Yeah, if they make a second game, I'll definitely play it.
Oh yeah.
Epic Chef 2, chop down the big... I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, so I got kind of a quickie before I pass this off to FG because she's got something to talk about after that. But I have a soft spot in games. I really like taking pictures of things. I've got very fond memories of Pokemon Snap. I've never owned it, but I played it at my cousin's house years ago when it was new. And one of my favorite games that I played last year, which came out in 2019, actually, was Umurangi Generation. Or actually, I think I played it in 2020 and it came out in 2019. God, where's the time gone? Anyway, it was a game called Umurangi Generation, which is also about taking pictures of things. But a game about taking pictures of things came out yesterday, quite literally, so this is hot off the presses. Paparazzi, published by Dwarf Fortress publisher Kit Fox Games, it is by Sunday Month is the name of the developer. It's a very simple game. It's Pokemon Snap. You get little selections of tasks to go take pictures of things in an open area, and it's primarily dogs. There's some really great humor in there. It's the dogs don't animate; they just kind of bounce and do backflips and things. There's dogs on bicycles, dogs on skateboards. Every now and again, you get a mission from the elusive cat who wants to see his stock market generally, like because he's the business cat, and he'll tell you to go take pictures of like, I need to find my stock portfolio. It's left by the bench in the park, and then you go into the park and you find the stock portfolio that was left by the bench, and you take a photo of it and you send it to him, and then he calls you peasant, and it's great. And there's just dogs everywhere, and you can pet them. Also, you're an anthropomorphic camera. You're not actually a person in this game. People, there are no humans, but there's humanimorphs, which are weird robots that feed the dogs and clean up after the dogs. There's just a lot of good humor. It's just very light and fluffy, and I've been enjoying just plodding around and taking pictures of dogs for a bit.
So how is the gameplay on that? Like, is the taking pictures actually fun?
So you start off with just a very basic lens, and then pretty quickly you start unlocking other lenses. They're all very silly versions of real-life lenses. So one of the first lenses you unlock is like a fish eye, which is literally a fish with an eyeball on the side of it that you stick to the front of your face. There's the pixelated lens that makes it look like a Game Boy. There's various different lenses. And there's also different types of film that have different coloration options. So you don't get like like in something like Umurangi Generation, which is a bit more of a simulator, you get like a slider where you can slide between different color gradients. This, like you can purchase different film in the vending machine, which is like your main form of progression. You get new lenses, and there will be missions and objectives in every area that require lenses that you don't have yet that you can afford. So you go to the next area to earn more. They call them bonks, but they're dog bones, which you earn for completing missions, and you also find them throughout the environment. The game also becomes a little bit of a 3D platformer. You have a double jump. There are skateboards that you can ride and various other things, and so you traverse the environment to find more items. So it's a combination of completing objectives to earn in-game currency, to acquire new lenses to then go out. Taking photos is fun. It's not as intense as something like a Umurangi Generation, which is more of a simulator. It's very much kind of an arcadey photography game. But the other kind of form of progression that the game has is followers. So you can post your better photos that include more dogs, or maybe dogs carrying items, because you'll get bonus points for, say, throwing a stick and then a dog grabs the stick and it's like dog playing with stick, or a friendly dog, because there's a pet the dog button. So if you pet the dog, then the dog becomes a friendly dog and they get hearts above them. So if you have a dog holding a stick next to an object and it's properly like on the edge of the thing and it's black and white film, then you get extra bonus scores. And so if you get a particularly nice photo, you can post it on Dogpedia, which is like the game's social media, and you can get followers and money that way as well, outside of the mission structure that the game gives you. So there's like that kind of progression. There's also like, just like Pokemon Snap, where you could like take a picture of every single Pokemon. You can save photos and try and get a photo of every single breed of dog. So there's lots of different like ways of like earning in-game money, as well as kind of progressing through the different levels. And there's plenty of reasons to go back. I'm on like I just finished the city level and I got to the desert level. And then with they all have like very punny names. I've already got reasons to go back to the first two levels because new areas have unlocked there. So there seems to be quite a lot of like returning to other areas. It's on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, like just try it. It's also I think it's like $15 on Steam. I kind of look at it already like I've put about 2.5 hours into the thing, and there's tons of stuff unlocking and reasons to go back to all the old areas and take photos of stuff. And if you have played Pokemon Snap and you're looking at the new Pokemon Snap going, that's $80. Maybe like have a look at this as an alternative to that. It's also like, it's not on rails like Pokemon Snap as well. It's like, it's a freely open environment. You can just walk around.
Yeah, because I really enjoy taking photos in the games as well. Like, I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, the newest expansion, the Endwalker, and I have maybe 5,000 screenshots from that going through the story. And I also played the Beasts of Maraville, which kind of also like taking photos in, and it's like a jungle, taking wildlife pictures. But it was very disappointing. It was very short, and it was very on rails basically, and you just took photos, and it wasn't really interesting in the same way like this one sounds.
Yeah, I have no idea how long.
Definitely wanted to give this a spin.
I have no idea how long Paparazzi is going to end up being. But like, from where I'm sitting right now, I could probably replay every zone that I've played so far and double the amount of time that I've put in just from stuff that I've unlocked.
Yeah.
So.
But it also sounds like a game with if it's really long, it might get kind of samey taking pictures. So
yeah, it's
limited length might be good also on that.
Yeah, it kind of games like this can certainly outstay their welcome. I think that like my favorite in kind of the photography genre of ever is probably just Umurangi Generation, and that's like, I'm not going to spoil anything from that game, but that's like the best game for 2020 that didn't come out in 2020. But it's like about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I actually watched you play that, and it seemed really good.
That game was about 2.5 hours. Like, I finished it in one sitting, and then went back and 100%ed it. So it's like, even with the DLC, that game's about 2.5 hours, which I think is kind of like the sweet spot for this type of thing. But like, this isn't a long session game. This isn't something that I would recommend sitting down playing for 8 hours. But it's definitely like I'm going to probably 100% Paparazzi over the next couple of months. So
yeah, I'm definitely gonna give it a go as well, based on your recommendation here.
But that's kind of all I really have to say about taking photos of dogs. FG, you've got Expeditions Rome.
I do. Yeah, I have. Also, Hot of the Press came out yesterday as well. So that's the 20th, because we're recording this not on the 23rd. Well, but it's gonna be weird when people are like, wait, yesterday, but it says the 20th. That is weird. Also available on your preferred platform, Steam, Epic, and GOG. So go nuts, I guess, if you want to buy it. It's the third game in the Expedition series. The first game I don't think many people have heard of, Expedition Conquistadors. But Expeditions Viking, people may have heard of, which came out several years ago. And the new one is Rome. And it's basically alternate history in a way. Because it's basically, well, but what if Caesar died? And you're the main character. But it's basically a tactical turn-based RPG. Isometric turn-based combat. You walk around, you explore. There's lots of loot to grab. But the setting is pretty interesting. But what actually really won me over is the writing in the game. The writing is really, really good. The characters, they're voiced. So the only thing that's not voiced is the main protagonist. So that makes it, not too bad for streaming, because you've got the other characters reading out their text and then you just read out your answers. And the writing is just so good that it gives it personality. It's just really, really fun. And I knew I would like the game, because I booted up the game, right, as you do when you're streaming a game. And like a professional streamer that I am, I, of course, did all the setting up of the settings before I started the stream. Yeah.
Yes, I always do.
Yeah.
Every single time.
But no. So yeah, of course, yeah. No, but I did that, and I opened up the settings menu, and literally every settings menu thing that has a tooltip has a little humorous quip associated with it. And it's just like, it's so funny. Like, you open it, I think we spent probably about 10 minutes just in the settings menu, literally reading every setting just because of that humor in there. And I don't know, it's just like, from that moment on, I was like, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be funny and good. And no, it's been really enjoying it. I stream it for 2 days now. I've got the Twitch extension on, so it's really nice as a streamer, because there's like choices to make, and there's branching stories depending on how you make your choices. I killed a character. I'm not going to say who I killed, but I could have used that character like 3 maps later in an assault. But because I killed that character, that particular option of like doing that particular assault wasn't available to me. So it's got Twitch extension, not through chat, which is yay, thumbs up for me, so no spam. It's an on-screen extension, and people can just vote on like, what you want to do. But there's a lot of customization with that, which is really cool. So you can turn on, start the vote automatically, or you do the vote, and is the vote binding or is it not? Or that's just that. It's just really good. I highly recommend if you enjoy CRPGs, turn-based CRPGs, super recommend. It's super fun. I did have a couple of bugs, but I played the first day. I played the pre-release version, and there was a patch that came out when the game, like just before the game came out, and that fixed most of the issues that I had. So, yeah, no, big thumbs up from me. I just really, really enjoyed it. I think Kiri also really enjoyed it. She also played it. Yeah, it's just really, really good. That's all I wanted to say about it. It's good. Buy it. Not sponsored.
You kind of blew my mind with the with the comment of the previous 2 games, because I didn't know that this was a franchise.
Yeah, it is.
I only just realized that.
Yeah, it is indeed. And yeah.
I think it's kind of funny because every single one they've put out is $10 more expensive than the one before. To
be fair,
like, the first one is $20, second one is $30, and this one's $40.
Yeah, they have added a lot more stuff to it. Like, it's a lot more. There's a lot more meat in the game. Because you have your group that you run around with. You have your camp that you do upgrades for, and you build things, and you have your little group of Praetorians that you upgrade. And then you also have the Legion that you manage, and then you do Legion fights as well. So you have your tactical top-down base battles, and then you have the Legion fights, which are not as elaborate as, say, like in a Total War or anything like that. It's a little bit more involved auto-resolve phase from Total War. So basically, there's 4 phases of a battle. You choose a commander for the battle, and you have for each phase of the battle, you choose a stratagem on how to do it. And depending on what you do, you get like tactical advantages, or you make sure that your morale goes up, or your defense goes up, etc., etc. There's a lot of meat in that game. I've played 16 hours now, I want to say, roughly ish. Yeah, 15 and a half hours, and I have not yet completed the first act of the story. So yeah, there's a whole bunch more to do in the game. It's really good.
Well, maybe we can get an update in a couple of weeks from you.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
That does sound kind of awesome. But we've that once again, that was Expeditions Rome. But we've got another game that Suwey would like to talk about. So do you want to dive into that?
Yeah. Okay. So, I have not been streaming or playing games too much for the past week because of my fatigue problems. But prior to that, I was playing through Grow Song of the Evertree, which is just amazing. I've been really, really enjoying it. It came out back in November of 2021. Yeah, but I only got around to it recently because I just have a huge backlog of review keys to get through. And this game is so good. It's really cute and pretty and super whimsical. And basically, there's this tree that makes life happen, I guess. I'm really bad at explaining stuff. The typical something hit it and it's called the withering, and it makes it so it's sickly and everything, and so you are the person who stayed behind and is gonna try and fix it and take care of this tree and get it to go back up. And so you throughout it you make different worlds that you go and tend to, which are not very big. You think of worlds and you think of this massive thing, but it's not too big. And it's just this area where you pluck weeds and water plants and all kinds of stuff like that. Get rid of rubble. And then there's another section in the game which takes a little bit of time to get into, but where you are managing a little city, a little town, and you gotta choose what people to get into it, help them skill up, and tell them what to work as, and decorate their house, and it's just really cute and fun, and I recommend it. I'm 26 hours in, and I think I'm near the end.
I'm looking at this one on Steam right now, and I'm not particularly into this style of game, but I love that we're at the point now where games are starting to look like Pixar films.
Agreed, yeah.
It's very colorful. It's very bright. Everything's kind of got a larger than life, I maybe not quite a Pixar style, but definitely animated movie kind of visual aesthetic to it. This is beautiful looking.
Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty, and you pretty much get to make your character look however you want. They something I really liked is when you first make your character, you can choose any pronouns. So they'll let you pick male, female, and then non-binary. And then choosing a gender does not lock you to cosmetics at all.
That's always good.
I think it might change body types a tiny bit, but not much.
That sounds lovely, and like I said, visually this game is kind of striking. So, but once again, that is Grow Song of the Evertree, which is available on a video game platform of at the very least Steam. That's where I looked for it.
Near
so
you.
I don't know where else it's available, but at least one the one that a lot of people use. But on the topic of video games being available on platforms, I think it's time for us to rise to the occasion, and Belannaer's got one to take over here.
Yeah, so I've been playing Monster Hunter Rise finally on PC, which came out about a year ago on Switch exclusively, and then about a year now later, we finally got it on PC as well, and came out like a week ago. And I've been grinding some monsters, maybe a few too many hours already. But yeah, I was just wanted to talk about a little bit. So if you're not playing Monster Hunter, it's in the title. You hunt big monsters and just basically boss battles the game. But this one came after the Monster Hunter World, which was the big move to get the Western players play Monster Hunter, which was wildly successful. And also Rise has been now like a top 5 game on Steam for week and a half it's been released, so it's been really popular as well. And they really like took all of the quality of life that they made in World and just supercharged it in this one. Like they had really bad multiplayer and lobby systems and everything in the previous games, especially the handheld versions. And this one has such a good lobby system, like a multiplayer, that like other games should really take a hint from this one. Like it's actually really, really good. Like we have had some disconnects, but that happens. But yeah, like you can like instantly join back, you can lobby with friends, and it just works so well. It's like so well done, and all the other quality of life improvements just make this like such a joy to play. And since this was made for a Switch originally, which obviously doesn't have that great hardware under it, the PC version runs like amazing, like so well. They upscaled the graphics to 4K, unlimited frame rate, and since it's made for a Switch on a PC, on a good PC, you can actually run those high frame rates even on a pretty mediocre PC, and it still works like 60 FPS, 120 FPS, 144, no issue. It's like smooth as butter. It's just so good. And other than that, it's more Monster Hunter. Although this time it's much more mobile, faster, which kind of brings an interesting dimension. It's like a lot more 3-dimensional, because you have this like a wire bug thing that you can use to launch yourself in the air and climb walls and everything. Because Monster Hunters have it pretty, you're stuck to the ground and that's it. Until World allowed you to move a lot more 3-dimensionally, and then they went even more further with this one. And you can ride monsters, you can climb mountains, and it's really weird when you get into it first. It's like, I don't know how to play this, because you're so used to, if you played a lot of Monster Hunters, you're used to having that like, okay, I'm on ground 2D plane, but suddenly have like a whole new dimension to play with. And it's a really interesting new addition to the whole series.
I'm trying to think what was the last Monster Hunter I played. It was on the 3DS, and I want to say it was like the last one that they put on the 3DS.
That's probably 4, I think.
It was an ultimate something. So probably
they always do that. So in Japan they always do like they get Monster Hunter 3 or Monster Hunter 4, which includes like low rank and high rank monsters, which doesn't really mean anything if you haven't played the game. And then they introduce it's called Ultimate in the West. I don't remember what they call it in Japan, but they basically sell the same game separately. No DLC or anything, expansion separately, which includes the Master Rank, which is like all the very high ranking monsters. So you have to, at least previously, you had to buy the game twice in Japan to get the best experience.
The kind of sad part about that is just like you'd get like less dedicated players like me who would like jump in briefly in one game and then just like never really realize what I was missing out on, because I never got very deep into Monster Hunter, and it's kind of neat like seeing it like hit the mainstream with World, and now this come out where it's just like kind of going back to a more like traditional kind of Monster Hunter mold, but also like expanding on it mechanically at the same time. It's just like it's neat kind of seeing that community keep going. I don't know. I think that business model is kind of antiquated, but also in a way, I kind of like it more than just making it into a TM live service, if you know what I mean. So I don't know. It's a weird business model, but it's glad
I was really worried with this like following up like World was like PC mainly, and then also like PlayStation, I think so as well. And they went like really high end with the graphics and everything compared to like the previous games. And then they went back to Switch, which obviously can't do the same graphics and everything as a PC can. But they actually did it really well. Like I was worried it would be not so great.
Well, from watching your streams, like
probably the best in the series.
From watching your streams, like the monsters move in a very realistic fashion, which is what you need for Monster Hunter.
Yeah, that's always been a thing.
And
now that it's like smooth as butter FPS,
yeah, absolutely,
it's so good.
And then like,
and it's also, I'm not sure if it's a thing, but as we've been playing, it feels like they all scaled all the monsters to be a little bigger than they used to be. Like I ran into some monster and it's like, you seem much bigger than I remember. Which just adds to like whole more epicness of the things.
I think instead of just looking like a particle effect madness, kind of like World did, it just kind of ends up looking like a plastic toy, like which I think is like aesthetically fine, and like you said, it's still Monster Hunter, and it gets all that across. And if the monsters are larger, that's even better.
You're there for the gameplay much more than the fancy effects and everything.
Yeah. Well,
and it's also coming out with the so this time they're not doing the you buy it twice. They actually are coming with a proper expansion in the June, I think, actually, of this year. So
that's pretty soon.
A couple more months and we'll get like a whole new amount of content. They're still doing the low rank, high rank in the base version, and then the master rank is the expansion that comes this summer.
Are they coming out on multiple platforms at the same time, or is there going to be like a Switch exclusive thing for a period?
I think they did with the World, if I don't remember completely wrong. It was firstly on consoles, then it came to PC, and then the expansion was launched same time.
Yeah, that caused some I remember like hearing people being mad about that. It's like you got the because like they got the updates and like the live events like in at the same time at a point, and then like the DLC was like 9 months delayed for PC or something, and it kind of like killed that player base for a bit.
They do have that whole like free content. Pretty regularly, actually, and they did just launch an event on Switch, which is not on PC yet, but it might be because PC just released, which does include like all the content, small content events and everything they did throughout the last year. So the PC version has all of that immediately, which kind of feels weird. Also, like you go to them, like there's like an add-on section in there, which is like you download all these extra events and you just go and there's like 7 pages of new events, and then you just get like a bunch of stuff just thrown at your face immediately. It's like, okay, that's a lot of events suddenly. But I hope they do the same release, and then all the events start also going about the same time.
Sure. Well, I mean, I guess we got. I guess we'll have to check back in with you at some point when that DLC comes out, and so. We can hear more about Monster Hunter shenanigans in the future, but once again, that was Monster Hunter Rise, and the games that we've talked about in this section are Epic Chef Paparazzi, Expeditions Rome, Grow's Song of the Evertree. I wanted to swap Song and Grow for some reason in my brain, and Monster Hunter Rise. We're going to take a break, and we will continue with your Halcyon Frequency podcast just after this quick message.
Hello there, I'm Mojess. Be sure to add an underscore to the middle if you're browsing on Twitch. If you like a variety of strategy, simulation, and management style games in a cozy, wholesome environment, I have got the channel for you. Stop by at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which is UTC-7, Mondays through Thursdays, to join in on the fun. And now, please enjoy the rest of the podcast. Thanks so much for listening.
And we're back. And once again, this is the Halcyon Frequency Podcast that you are currently listening to. How do I start this news segment? I mean, I've been playing video games for a very long time. I think I speak for everybody here. Like, you know, we've all, like, at least to a degree, been following this industry for probably a while. This is the biggest video game news I think I've ever heard.
Pretty much, yeah.
Period. Absolutely money-wise. What's even funnier is like another really big thing happened, which isn't even on this document. So I'm just going to read this. Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard King, or it has signed an agreement to, and has announced that they are planning to purchase Activision Blizzard King for $68.7 billion. because last week Take-Two bought Zynga, the Farmville people, and I guess like Microsoft is just like, hey, Take-Two, you think you're cool buying them for $12 billion? Well, have we got a story for you? So once again, Activision is called the Call of Duty people. Blizzard is the Blizzard people. We know what they do, I would think. And King is, they're Candy Crush, and all of the sagas. They're the people that tried to copyright the word saga not too long ago. This is
mental.
Well, first off, I'm just gonna. I'll let you talk in a second, FG. But this is insane because it really kind of puts into perspective. Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, was I want to say it was this past summer, was talking about Call of Duty specifically. And there's a quote from him where he says, "We are currently in negotiations to work on our relationship with Activision Blizzard in respect to Call of Duty." And it's puts that statement into a whole new perspective now. FG, you were going to say something and then I babbled over top of you.
No, it's just Microsoft at one point in time, Microsoft was, in the gaming sphere. We all remember Games for Windows Live and how terrible it was and all of that sort of stuff. And then Microsoft disappeared. And now it's suddenly like, once that goes through next year, Microsoft suddenly is the third biggest video game company out there again. And it's like, what? What timeline is this? Like, because it's not just that they're obviously now they bought this huge studio, but it's not like it's their first or second or even third acquisition in the last couple of years. Like, they have so much now.
Shopping around a lot.
It is mental. It's crazy.
Like, with the timeline, right? Like, Microsoft was the big company coming into games way back with the original Xbox. They ran that console for a couple of years and then ran away from it with their tail between their legs and pretended it didn't happen. Launched the Xbox 360, and that was a massive success, right?
Yeah.
Alongside of Call of Duty with Activision, too. And then they were kind of the head of the show for a little while, at the very least, when it comes to like the mainstream console scene. They tried to get into PC gaming, as you said, with Windows Live, and nobody liked that, and that was horrible, and they became like the scourge of PC gaming, but like we're still loved in the console space. And then Xbox One happened, and they ceased being like acknowledged because everybody hated Xbox One so much, and that console was underpowered, it had problems, it was supposed to be an online-only box, and nobody wanted that. And now they've managed to pivot that into more of a software company. And now their head goal is just, we want Game Pass subscribers.
Yep.
And they are trying to position it so that they can get like Xbox Game Pass or just Game Pass on Nintendo platforms and on Sony platforms. That's what they want. That is their end game currently. And they're just trying to make that as necessary as possible for their current and still bigger than them competitor in this space. Like as a corporation, Microsoft is bigger than Sony, but the gaming division, Xbox, is still like, as you said, smaller than Sony. Sony still is a larger company. So Sony still has swinging power, but like they are trying to take that. But in doing so, they are buying Activision Blizzard King at a point when they're down in the dirt for being a horrible corporation. If anybody pays any attention to gaming news, like they're being sued by the state of California for malpractice. They are like mistreating workers. Currently, shout outs to Patrick Klepek over at Waypoint, Vice Games. A strike fund has been they've raised $400,000 in a strike fund to start a union over at Raven Software, which is one of the main studios working on Call of Duty Warzone. That studio's they've been on strike for like 6 weeks now because they laid off the majority of their QA, and this is a live game that is ongoing that needs support QA, and also it's a game that is notorious for being buggy and breaking. And so on top of purchasing this corporation with a objectively terrible CEO who's horrible, combined with a terrible work culture, Like they're biting off so much. There's so many quotes out of Phil Spencer over the past that are coming back up from the past couple months, like back in November, about him talking about just the horrible things that they're doing over there, and basically saying like, we need to keep them at arm's length to a degree. And now it's just like all of the official information coming out of Xbox is just talking about how Bobby Kotick is staying on indefinitely, but every single rumor coming out of the rumor mill is saying, oh, he's going to be gone the literal second Microsoft takes over, which is summer 2023. I'm inclined to believe the rumor mill here, but Bobby Kotick needs to go. And they need to restructure that company. Like I can't speak for Microsoft. I don't know what their corporate culture is like, but you can't really get worse than where Activision Blizzard has been.
I don't know. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, also the Bloomberg posted an article that the Activision employees are also saying that they're very optimistic about the acquisition. So
hopefully,
it seems also within the company they're also interested, like really into this whole weird merger, I guess.
Blizzard in particular, like talking not even like not company culture, not Kotick and his horribleness. Blizzard itself, just when it comes to games, has been getting a little bit stale, and I think we can all agree on that. And when I say a little bit, that's a lot. And hopefully this breathes in fresh air into that, entire thing as well. That's what I'm thinking. Or like also gaming wise, like we live in a timeline where potentially Xbox Xbox Game Pass gives you your World of Warcraft subscription. Like, what even is a world anymore?
The interesting thing about the Game Pass model, though, is like I could see the Game Pass model being a net positive for Activision Blizzard. Just like so there is a world, right, where all games end up on Xbox Game Pass, and then anything that isn't on Game Pass is an instant failure, right? Like there is a possibility that we get to the Netflix situation where unless you are on one of the major streaming services, you don't exist. So I could very much see like the Game Pass model being a negative in the future, but for current times, we're looking at they're not just acquiring like Activision Blizzard King, they're acquiring quite literally like a dozen studios that are under Activision. And
yeah, Activision is the publishing branch of the Activision Blizzard, and they have like a ton of smaller developers under their wing. And I'm actually interested to see what happens with that thing, because like the Activision Blizzard is like you have the Activision publishing, you have the Blizzard, and then you have the King for the mobile stuff. So are they gonna like maybe separate those into like separate entities? Like I could see that happening. Like Activision is gonna become like the publishing wing for under the Microsoft, and they're gonna sweep all their other studios under that whole publishing, because you already have everything going there. You have the publishing, PR, and everything. Why not just lump everything there? Then you have Blizzard as its own entity. You can kind of have this whole new rise of Blizzard. It's not under any Activision or Vivendi or any of these other companies anymore. It's like Blizzard is back, and they try to get that where it was maybe 10 years ago. And then King is the mobile stuff, and they just sweep all the mobile under that as well. Like they have a really good chance of like structuring their things with this whole purchase.
I mean, I think you're going to see layoffs, because in this kind of thing, you always see layoffs. And like because you were saying that like maybe they'll split the publishing out. I have a feeling that we're going to see layoffs for Activision Blizzard, Activision and Blizzard separately for their publishing arms, because Microsoft already has that, right? So
yeah, you already have that, so you don't need it.
There will be layoffs there.
Twice.
But the silver lining on this is Activision owns a lot of IP that they're doing kind of nothing with. Like we saw a new Spyro pretty recently, right? And we saw a new Tony Hawk, or the remasters of Tony Hawk's. But like a Tony Hawk game would work perfectly on Game Pass.
The Phil Spencer was also talking about like, we own these IPs now. We have Hexen. Yes, let's make these.
Absolutely.
So we might be seeing a resurgence of some of these older IPs coming with the whole thing.
Give Hexen to id Software. You own that too.
Yeah, there are so many.
Do they actually?
Yeah, they do, because that's Bethesda.
It's Bethesda, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they bought Bethesda.
There's so many options of like either IP crossovers.
They also own Sierra.
Or like just being able to revive old things, and like I don't know. Like there's a lot of options, which is exciting.
It's crazy because they own Double Fine, right? Which is all of the old Lucasfilm people to a degree, or a large number of the original Lucasfilm point and click adventure people, right? Like, you know, Monkey Island and all that stuff. But now they also own Space Quest now. They own Phantasmagoria. They own a lot of, like, all of the other point and click adventures from the other side.
Mental.
So they could give Space Quest to Double Fine if they wanted to. Like that's
I mean, this whole
crazy.
crossover thing is already starting because they just announced the buying, and Overwatch is already celebrating the buying with the skin for the Soldier 76, and it's the Halo.
Yeah.
They need to put Pitfall. They need to like remaster Pitfall. The time is now. Bring back Pitfall. Which I learned the other day that like nobody knows exists, or that Activision made it. But
How?
I didn't know it was up by Activision, but I played it a lot back in the day.
Activision was the first third-party publisher. Like, period. And they published games on Atari.
Yeah, how do people not know Pitfall? I'm shocked.
We are old.
Yeah,
That's how.
I know, but still.
Suwey, have you heard of Pitfall?
No.
There you go.
Of course
See?
not. I shouldn't be surprised.
It's basically it's like the first Indiana Jones game. Kind of.
I mean, to be fair, Pitfall is also not great. You know.
It's not. The controls are so bad.
Yeah.
But like, as an example, like the new Call of Duty Vanguard, which by the way didn't do very well. Very few people bought it, and the people who didn't like it. Has Pitfall in it. You can play Pitfall in Call of Duty Vanguard because that game has like it's not hub levels. It has like a home base that you can walk around, and there's an old CRT and an Atari plugged into it. And Pitfall is one of the games that you can play on that. And the sad part is the emulation is so bad it's actually unplayable. The little creatures that move around at the bottom of the screen that fight with you like glitch out and don't work properly and don't path correctly and don't move the right ways, so it's actually impossible to beat it. And so it's just like Activision Blizzard has been like trying to do stuff with their old IPs and failing horribly with it. And I don't want to like make Microsoft look like good guys here because I think monopolies are terrifying,
Yeah,
but that's
that
a different
too.
subject. I don't want to say that they're the good guys here, but it is profitable for them to care about video games right now because just with the way Game Pass works, the more that they cater to people who play games on PC, the age category of people who are playing games on PC right now is what, like 25 to 34 or something on average. We remember those old games and we want those games back. And they know that if they provide that, we'll buy it. I mean, the Spyro remaster is like a perfectly good example of that. And I hope that they dig into some of those old IPs and give them to people who can do cool things with them. Because like I'm terrified of large corporations, and I'm going to be honest about that. But I think that a world where people are able to do things that want to do things with those old IPs could probably just be a net positive for the industry, at least in the short term. And assuming you eject Bobby Kotick and shoot him into the sun or something equivalent, or just give him his millions and tell him to go away. Like, as long as we can just get past that, and assuming this doesn't completely stifle out like Raven Software's unionization efforts and Blizzard's similar situation, which I'm kind of worried it will. But assuming that doesn't get completely stomped out of existence, I think that at least in the short term, this could be a positive.
It's definitely going to be a positive for the consumers, I think. I don't know about the working conditions. I hope it gets better and they do some housekeeping at Blizzard and kick out all the people that they need to kick out. Am I certain that they will? No. Am I hopeful? Yes, and I really, really hope it, that's what happens. But I do agree. Ultimately, I think for the consumer, like the potential, there's a potential that we see really, really, really awesome games coming out of this in the next 5 to 10 years is very big.
One other thing worth noting is Facebook also had an offer on the table to buy Activision Blizzard King. Shoutouts to Games Radar for that article, but I think that
see, that would have been the darkest timeline.
Yeah,
indeed. Like, I much prefer this purchase instead of.
I mean, people seem pretty happy with Oculus stuff. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to that because I don't do VR stuff, but people seem to like Oculus, at least the people that are in that ecosystem.
Yeah, have you not heard? They're discontinuing that though, and it's
entirely.
It's really weird what's happening with it, and there's like weird stuff because where you had to have like a Facebook account, but now you don't. But now you can like, I don't know. It's really weird. I'm not into it.
I thought they were discontinuing one model, not the entire thing. But
I don't know.
Maybe
It's messy. I think I'm not in the VR space because I'm pretty sure I would just get absolutely ultimately sick. So it's only on like you know I'm only informed on the periphery, but like it's messy for sure.
Yeah, it feels one of those like big corporation buying a new tech and they didn't really know what to do with it, and then they just bounced around and try a few different things and then just sell it off or just discontinue it.
Strange. I don't know. I would think that Facebook would be doubling down on that because of their addiction to the term metaverse. But anyway, that could have happened. So at the very least, I think that we can all agree that yay, that's a positive thing that's not happening. But as big of a story as that is, we do actually have some other news topics to talk about here. So, does anybody want to take the big adventure Steam event?
Yeah, so there's a event going on. It's a smaller event on Steam, but it's currently happening when this podcast is out. It's only gonna have like a day and a half left or so because it runs until January 24th. But it's called the Big Adventure Event, and it has some demos. It has some games that are on sale, and it's just all about adventure games. So there's a lot of RPGs, a lot of point and click games, lots of story games. There's some horror in there. It's a good variety. And I personally have like looked through it and I've played a lot of the demos because I tend to kind of stalk the events on Steam that have demos in them. I don't know why. I just kind of enjoy playing the demos. And so I've played a lot of them, but I am going to be checking out Endling, which is where you play as like this little cute fox. And then Rosewater, which is a Western RPG, and then A Space for the Unbound. I tried to play the demo of it a while back, but it was broken. So I'm hoping it works now because it looks really cool. And then I know that there's a demo out for Beacon Pines. I've already played that demo, but that game is like the demo for it is so good. So, yeah.
I'm just looking at the some of the games that are on here, and I'm seeing this game called The Drifter, which is one of the games that has a demo. This has a really nice aesthetic. Might need to
they have like an entire retro inspired section.
Yeah, no, this looks cool. So yeah, go check out some demos. Go play some demos, and maybe we'll have some more to talk about in that regard later.
I'll probably check out some on the weekend.
Kind of a side note on these events, though. These events to me are proof that we don't need conventions.
Yep.
Just kind of at all. I mean, I think that the state of the world and conventions are something that's going to probably be a reoccurring thing that I bring up on this podcast. But like, as valuable as it is to be able to meet with developers face to face and talk with people, I think that we are moving past the world where, in order to make sure that your game sells, you need to be there. I'm not sure if this is better for devs or not. I think it's going to start becoming a thing that I bring up in my interviews more and more when I talk with people about like, how valuable do you think that this is versus that? Like, I'd be really curious to know, but at least from my perspective, it seems like this is replacing the need for that in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I've seen a little bit about that on Twitter, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently it's pretty bad for discoverability if you're not one of the top games in them. However, this event is a little different since it's by, I believe it's a publisher. is actually hosting it, but usually like Steam does their, autumn event, their winter event, what have you.
Yeah.
And in those, if you're not one of the featured games or you don't have really good hits on the wish list ratio and all that, it can be pretty hard to get seen at all.
Yeah. Yeah, because this one's being run by HitSense.
But then,
just reading it, so.
But then I would also imagine, though, that if you're one of those smaller devs, getting to a convention is probably also not really on the table, I would say.
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
At PAX, at the very least, like they would always have like you'd have the big booths, and like those are really easy. Like finding the Supergiant booth is super easy. You walk into the game, like onto one of the floors, and it's boom, Supergiant. But like even like there's the Indie Mega booth, which is just like was always just a whole bunch of smaller games. But there was another smaller booth than the Indie Mega booth. Next to the Indie Mega booth were like really small games, like set up for a day. And like as an example, there was the first day at PAX West 2019, which was the last PAX West I went to. The developer for Nova Drift was there. I never saw it. I never knew it was there, and found out that it was there 3 days later after they'd left because they were only at that spot the first day with their game playable. And that game is like kind of super successful now because of like streamers and YouTube marketing and like clever social media. But Nova Drift, like if I like talking to them, they said that they're the only reason they were there really was to just say hi to some people, and it was like a paid trip basically. Like aside from that, for their game, it was kind of a waste of time. So I think like there's benefits and negatives on both sides. Like in this, you're competing in algorithms, which sucks. Like nobody loves fighting for followers and nobody loves fighting for wish lists. But
I mean, we all know how that is. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like flying around the world to like hope somebody comes by. Like Jupiter Hell's a game that I bring up a lot, right? And Cornell, the developer of that, stated that I was one of 2 streamers that he talked to during the entirety of PAX East, and he had a booth at PAX East, and I was the only one who actually streamed it out of those 2. And I didn't find them until the last day.
It depends a lot how the booths are like done in the conventions. Like I go to games, or have been going to Gamescom, I guess, several years in a row, and they have this indie booth arena or indie arena booth where they have like all the indie games in one clump. And I think those are doing much better since you go to one location and you just hit all the indie games in there at the same time. But obviously, having like easier online thing you can do is much better for especially developers from like income countries that don't have that high income, for example. Flying to like US or Europe and then having a booth that costs thousands and thousands and thousands is like insane money for them. I mean, it's insane money to any small developer already, but for a smaller income countries, it's just something that is just not possible.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I know a lot of indie devs know this, but honestly, reach out to streamers, and don't just reach out to streamers that have thousands of viewers. If you can get a dedicated following going of like smaller streamers that say 10 to 50 viewers, but they keep the category alive and they, keep streaming your game and that sort of stuff, that is worth a lot. Don't disregard those people. I know a lot of people tend to, because they're like, well, I'm going to just, give it to that guy who's going to play it for 2 hours for 10,000 viewers, but that's not going to necessarily create a community for your game. So, Go reach out and
keep it organic.
Talk to people. Yeah.
So this was added to our document kind of at last minute, but Google Play games coming to PC? ?
Yeah, so this kind of poked me in the eye while I was looking at the Activision Blizzard thing. So this was actually announced in one of the Game Award shows earlier already. So that it's called Google Play Games, and it's basically there is already like emulators and stuff. You can play Android games on PC, and they're actually pretty competent. But this is basically Google's own like a native support to play not any, but like most of the Android games that are available in Play Store, you can just play on PC. And I think it's like a really great way to.
It's awesome.
Like unify the whole thing. Like it's gonna be really great for small developers as well. Like some can put their game on the Google thing, and you can still play it on PC as well. You don't need to make 2 separate games basically. And you don't need to make it for both platforms. You can just do it on Android, and then you can play it on PC as well through this.
Also, and this is something that was mentioned in that article, like in a little side note, you can play both on PC and mobile, and they share save data. So progress data, so you can just switch between. So you can, if you're like, oh, I'm at home, but I want to play this, so you can just play it on the computer. And then if you're on the go, you can play it on the phone. And honestly, I have to say, I'm really excited about this because I don't have to use sketchy third-party apps anymore to play that stuff. Exactly. And I can do it on my computer because I don't really play games on my phone. But having this.
And then we can also stream them.
Yeah, and it kind of makes it so much easier to stream them too, because you don't have to use any sketchy things. And I'm actually really excited. Like, there are some really good mobile games out there, but I just don't play them because I don't play on phone because it's too small.
Yeah, I've been talking with my community as well that we want to play some mobile games. And I've been looking into the emulators and all of that, and it's like, then I saw this one, and I'm definitely going to be playing a bunch of
absolutely,
games that are available there.
I have problems with eye strain, and so when I stare at my phone for too long, it will kind of hurt my eyes, and I won't be able to see super well. So having this where I can look at a bigger screen would be nice too if I do find a mobile game I want to play.
Yeah, and you don't have to constantly look down and hurt your neck.
Yeah. Like for me, mobile games are something I play if I'm traveling or I'm not basically at home. But with the current situation, I'm basically always at home. I'm not going anywhere. So I do my gaming on PC. I guess all of us play already enough games during streaming and everything on our PC, so I don't really want to play stuff on my mobile phones or anything when I'm away from the PC.
Also, big plus, mouse and keyboard support. Also awesome.
Yes, that's gonna be great. So also in this same thing as I was looking into it, so Google has a new Google Play Pass. So it's basically Game Pass, the Xbox Game Pass, but for Android.
Oh, like the
so you
Apple.
get
Apple also has one where you can. It's like $5 a month, I think.
Looks like other companies are also starting to do this kind of Game Pass things for their stores. So you can just get a bunch of games with a monthly subscription. I think it was like $5 for the Google Play, and I saw there was like Stardew Valley and some actually really good indie games that are on PC as well.
Yeah. There's just kind of talking about the state of games for a second here. There was a quote that I saw. I want to say it was a Jeff Gerstmann quote, but I might be mistaken here. About in like currently, when we're talking about games, you talk about PC, you talk about Nintendo, you talk about Sony, and you talk about Xbox, right? I think in like 5-10 years, it's not going to be Sony. It's going to be Apple for the Apple Arcade stuff. It's going to be Google for the Google Play and I guess Stadia or whatever they end up doing with that marketplace. It's going to be Valve, Steam, and it's going to be Microsoft. Currently Sony is still huge, but I could very much see their market share or their market dominance, at least with the way things are going, shrinking in the future if they don't compete with this.
Yeah, I guess their way to compete currently is like exclusives.
I mean,
especially
they already have PlayStation Plus, so they've
do.
had that for a while.
Yeah, that's kind of a different service, right? And also, it's exclusive to their platform, right? And a lot of these services are becoming more and more platform agnostic, right?
Yeah.
Like you can get Apple Arcade on any Apple device, right? Which is like silly for anybody who's not in that ecosystem. But like if you're in that ecosystem, suddenly like you have Apple Arcade on your smart TV, you have Apple Arcade on your phone, and you have Apple Arcade on your computer, right? For us in kind of more like the Windows-centric PC gaming space, or maybe Linux, Steam exists, right, where you can buy games a la carte, and then there's Game Pass, right? And then also, Epic, and I do feel like
also have the Ubisofts and Origin have their own subscription.
Yeah,
well.
EA Play has that. I do feel like,
which is part of Game Pass or Steam, so there's already crossover happening. It's really
everything is becoming more and more connected in that way. And currently Sony and Nintendo, which is they're their own thing. I don't even.
Yeah.
But like Sony is competing with the mainstream gaming space. Like Nintendo kind of is off in the corner doing Nintendo things, but
they have so much of their own IPs that they can just do their own thing.
And Microsoft would like to put those conversations are happening. Like Microsoft wants to put Game Pass onto Nintendo platforms, and maybe that'll happen in 10 years. I doubt that'll happen anytime soon, but like that is a conversation that's happening, right? So there is a world where Sony is kind of the odd duck, right?
Sony,
I don't really know what their plans going forward are, but I mean, currently they are still on top of the world, right? And their games sell just fine.
Yeah.
But I'm really curious to see what the next 5 years look like.
Sony just needs to stop waiting a bajillion years before they put their games on PC. Because, like, look at Days Gone, right? Days Gone, like, sold amazingly on PC. It was a really good game. I talked about it last episode as well. But because it had kind of a shitty start on PlayStation. Oh, there's the swear for this episode. Sorry.
That's your one.
Because it had a bad start, a bad time on PlayStation, we're probably never going to see a sequel to it. But on PC, it did really well. And if they would not wait around that long to push their games to PC,
or not even pushing it
yeah,
all.
or not pushing it all,
just purely exclusive, like for exple, Bloodborne.
Yeah, which is
good luck with that one.
Insanely well. Good. With the whole Elden Ring coming out next month. Bloodborne would sell extremely well, and they're making a sequel to it as well, which is probably going to be also PlayStation exclusive.
They're also allegedly working on a new Armored Core, which there's comments about that coming out and screenshots that apparently exist.
I mean, the thing is just like, how easy is it right now? And that's sort of being sarcastic here, to get a console. Like, it's like, even if people wanted to play,
Hold on, how much is a
games
PlayStation
or
5
Xbox
in Canada?
games.
Need to go look that up.
But you can't really get PlayStation 5 now. Even
I know.
They started reproducing
exactly, that's the problem.
Increasing the production of PlayStation 4s because they cannot make PlayStation 5. So you have a console that nobody can buy or play anything on it.
I can get one used for $1,100.
Jeez.
Yeah, or just buy a PC.
Yeah, exactly. So just get off the high horse and just admit, PC. We should put all of our games on there, and we should do it soon.
I can buy a controller
because there is a market for it.
Controller.
Like everything that they've put on PC after it was on PlayStation has done so well. I mean, like Death Stranding, the Uncharted series, Horizon Zero Dawn,
Detroit
Become Human, Days Gone, like everything,
which was amazing.
Like like same with Horizon Zero Dawn or Death Stranding. They were all amazing, and just get off the horse. Just be accessible.
It's gonna be a weird couple of years in games, and I can't wait to see where things go. Now I have a very serious soul searching question for us. Who wrote Twitter NFT profile pictures on here, and do we really want to talk about it?
I wrote it, and I don't know. I don't think it really needs to be talked about.
Okay.
It's just like an interesting thing,
Shoot. I'd like to hear your take.
Okay, so, it's just interesting, right? Because, I think it's kind of good for everybody in a weird way, kind of. I mean,
tells
not
me who to
fully,
block on Twitter.
But yeah. I mean, if you're against NFTs,
so for
which
those,
I am.
For those of you who don't know, Twitter has a feature now where if you have an NFT profile picture, like say a Bored Ape Yacht Club or some other delinquency, you could, if you wanted to, put a "I am stupid" sticker on your forehead and make it into a little instead of a circle, a little hexagon-y shape, and so that everybody immediately knows that you are a verified, legit NFT. I'm trying not to be too insulting here.
Yeah. Well, it allows people to talk with those and avoid those who aren't because it's so polarizing, right? I mean, obviously there's a correct side and there's a wrong side, and I'm not going to into it. But
all that the feature does is it allows you to link your wallet, which holds your NFT receipt, and tag it to your image, and then people can see that it's an NFT. However, it doesn't matter if it's a legitimate NFT. You could right-click, copy, paste somebody else's legitimate NFT, right, from, let's just say, Bored Ape Yacht Club, mint it as your own NFT, put it into your own wallet, and use it as your icon. And then, boom, you have an NFT of this. Of course, then the person who owns the original of that NFT could theoretically go after you, but they'd have to find you first. So I'm not saying that everybody should just go take NFTs and mint them and make them into your icons just to point fingers and laugh at people, but people have already done that, and it's kind of funny. I don't hate this stuff, I think, as much as a lot of people do, but I think every single implementation we've seen of it is just incredibly silly, and this just kind of like hammers that point home for me.
I actually saw an interesting one that was again, I was like, I'm very much against them, but this one was actually kind of like okay, I kind of understand that one. So there's this a fantasy game of football called Sorare, which allows you to like buy and sell and trade virtual team members, kind of like a digital cards. Like there's that whole old market of baseball cards and footballer cards and so on that.
Sure.
So they've made a basically that, but into a video game. And they've been raising some crazy amounts of money, and they were valued at 4.3 billion.
Jeez.
I mean, just see how much money Peter Molyneux made selling virtual land.
Yes, there is obviously like huge money moving into this. And this was like I kind of like I don't really understand why people buy this, but as if you're buying into that whole like baseball cards and all that, that's like a whole world of weirdness on its own. But it kind of makes sense with the NFTs as like a virtual version of that. But in anything else, I don't really understand why you would put this.
Like, to give you...
But they have huge, they have licensed, 150 clubs, like actual football clubs, and they actually have like all these connections as well. For real players and everything.
I was looking at buying Slipknot tickets for April a couple of days ago. And I don't think I'm going to. They're too expensive, and like the state of the world right now is like, maybe I don't want to go to a big concert in April. But Ticketmaster's doing a thing now where every time you buy a ticket, you get a virtual ticket stub, which is an NFT. And it's on a very green blockchain, so I'm not worried about like the environmental impact of this. But it's funny because it's linked to your profile, and you can move it to a crypto wallet if you wanted to. And then you could sell old tickets for concerts. Like, I could kind of see where someone would like attribute silly value for some reason to that sort of thing, because people do collect concert tickets and concert stubs anyway. Like, it is something that people do. But the funny thing is, there are fees to transfer it from one person to another, right? Like it's difficult to just give somebody an NFT. And the way me and my friends buy tickets is I'll buy 6. And then my friends will pay me in cash later, or they'll buy me beer or whatever. Or I'll buy 2 if it's me and my friend Kevin going, or 3 if it's me and my friend Kevin and somebody else going to a show. And so what's going to end up happening is I'm going to end up with like multiples of these things. So like for me, like the marketplace isn't even going to work. I mean, I'm not going to accept any of them because I don't collect concert ticket stubs anyway. So it's like a non-starter for me. So I'll just like, if you just don't sign up, then you just never get it. It's fine. But it's like, the fact that they're doing that, it's like, even if I was to participate in it, it would be a flawed model just from the get-go, because of the fact that, like, I'd have to, like, send this ticket to somebody else, and I don't know. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, I understand, like, collecting, like, real items and all of that, because you have the item, and then it's gonna last basically forever, as long as you take care of it, and then you can sell it and move it around. But these like virtual things they're all tied to like single service, like a single game or wherever, and they're not really movable between the things. And I don't think these, especially like this football game or any of the Ubisoft things or any of these other ones, they don't really have that same lasting power.
Yeah,
they might be around like couple years, 4 years, 5 years, but what after that? Is it going to be 10 years, 20 years?
Fun.
Technology will move on, and that's just gone, basically.
Fun little tidbit for the Twitter NFT thing is the NFTs for the Twitter profile pictures are hosted on OpenSea, which is one of the most popular NFT marketplaces. And OpenSea actually went down for about an hour the other day, and everybody's Twitter profile pictures vanished. So I'm just putting that out there. And OpenSea goes down a lot. Like there a couple of days ago, I was trying to show somebody something on OpenSea because I thought it was funny. It was a bunch of YouTubers got screenshots taken of their likenesses and were sold as NFTs illegitimately. Anyway, so maybe like check OpenSea occasionally if you're a content creator to make sure nobody's selling you. But like when OpenSea goes down, and it does pretty frequently, all of those icons disappear. So where'd your monkeys go now? Anyway, I think that's like our NFT ballot for the day. So I think we're going to jump into our audience interaction segment now, unless anybody else really wants to talk about NFTs.
No, I'm good. We can move on.
Okay. So we do have a room on the Halcyon Frequency Discord called Podcast Questions, where for this segment of the show you can drop a question in there. It doesn't need to be about anything in particular. It can be about anything you want. Really, it's like, I don't know, maybe keep it safe for work. So we've got a few questions, and the first one here is from. Well, I mean, do I need to read these, or does somebody else want to read these? Because I can read them. It doesn't really matter. I read them? Okay.
Yeah, please read them.
So the first one comes in from Cutest Ghost, and they say, Dwarf Fortress streams when? So, Dwarf Fortress streams when?
When the PC version is
Steam, yeah.
It's already on
Steam.
I mean, the Steam version, not PC,
Yeah,
Steam version,
Steam.
yes. Give me the
Same.
Steam version.
Maybe when Steam version.
Okay.
Maybe.
Actually, here, I've got a way to do this. Everybody pop up the questions thing, and we can like pass them around. So, Suwey, could you read this question here from your best friend and partner in crime, Arch Plays Stuff?
My mod on my stream, yeah. So Arch Play Stuff asks, what game from your past would you have loved to stream at launch? I guess I'll go first. For me personally, it would be either Minecraft or Stardew Valley. I played both those games to death before I was a streamer. So I can't really go back to them because I've already like gotten as much as I can out of them, and now if I touch them, I'm just like, meh. But I loved them so much, and I wish I could have experienced it with my community.
I've got one.
Honestly, I think I have to. Sorry, I'm just jumping in there because I just have to say, I had a really hard time deciding, but I think now what Suwey said, that's actually a good point. Minecraft, same. I'm at the point where I look at Minecraft and my body just goes, no, I'm good. But that's because I've played it for thousands of hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same.
Like the discovery of Minecraft and like I mean, like we're in like what the fourth, fifth renaissance of Minecraft now, but like, yeah, experiencing the original heyday of Minecraft, that would have been cool, I think.
Minecraft is the game that really got me into PC gaming. I mean, I played games back on like iWin and Flash games and that sort of thing way back when. And then I played Facebook games a bit too when I was definitely old enough to play them. And like Minecraft was the first like legit, felt like a proper gamer game that I played, So
for me, I'm going to contort this question a little bit because this game obviously didn't come out when streaming services even existed. And I didn't get to play it at launch. I didn't play it until like the mid 2000s, but Dungeon Keeper.
Good.
I wish streaming services existed.
Yeah, same with a lot of these old games.
Yeah. My discovery of Dungeon Keeper was like the biggest galaxy brain moment I think I had as a kid playing games. I played it like because it came out in the 90s, and I played it in, I don't know, 2008, 2007, maybe. I don't know what year. Somewhere between like 2004 and 2009 is when I played it, and it's like that was like a mind blown level on multiple levels. and just kind of the sheer enjoyment of realizing, oh, I can take control of my minions and like building the little dungeons and being evil and pretending to just be an evil wizard, just like taking over and polluting the realms with like my horrible evil scourge of disgusting villainy. Like it was great times, and I miss that, and I wish that that game existed when streaming platforms existed once I was, streaming, instead of like, when people say Dungeon Keeper now, a lot of people just think of the mobile game that was put out that was legendary for being horrible. So
yeah, there's a lot of games from like that whole same era that would be amazing to first time streamer on a streamer. Like all the old XCOMs, all the SimCities, and all of these are like a really amazing old games. Like I would love to play them on launch on a stream.
So FG, do you want to read this question from Jess?
Yeah, sure. Whoa underscore Jess, I think is what the name is. From the
Who's that?
Stream
I think
team
I've heard the name somewhere.
Halcyon Frequency. Okay. No.
Hykalon, I think is how you say it.
Yeah. No, Jess actually came up with a question as well. And that is, what is your guilty pleasure game that you hate to admit to, but you can't give up? That's a good question. I would say, if I wouldn't just say, I play X game, and I don't care what you say because I enjoy it. So maybe somebody else has a good answer to that, because I don't.
I've seen you guys play all the cookie clicker games on Steam.
Yeah, for FD, I would say all the idle games you play. Come on.
Yeah, but the thing is, that is a guilty pleasure. That is. It's not a guilty pleasure though, because I don't hate to admit that I enjoy them. I just play them. That's the thing. Like I've talked about them so much that my community literally enables me now to play these games and gifts these games to me. So it's not a guilty pleasure. That's the thing for me.
I got one. Fishing simulator. I love fishing sims. I love fishing games. I've been playing, like, I remember like playing Sega Bass Fishing at a friend of mine's house years ago. I love fishing games. And I play Russian fishing. And I play Ultimate Fishing Simulator. I like fishing games. What? That's me.
Yeah, do you hate to admit that, really? Like,
yeah, that's
kind
the
of.
thing,
It's
yeah.
kind of hard.
Okay.
Because they're all terrible. That's the thing. Is there is like, I love fishing games, but I've never played a like. Actually, except for maybe like Ridiculous Fishing, the early Belannaer title. Outside of Ridiculous Fishing, I don't think I've ever actually played a good fishing game, and that is so like that's an arcade game. It's not really a fishing game, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's a game on your phone, and it's not a sim. But like I've never actually played an abjectly good sold product that is a fishing game. Like the most popular fishing games are both free to play, which is Russian Fishing and something fishing something. I didn't play the other one. But like even those aren't good. Like their physics break. They're extremely buggy. Like they suffer from like the worst problems that Farming Simulator does, and like I have this problem, especially with Ultimate Fishing Simulator, where like nobody bought half of the DLC. So like, some of us like to show achievements on our like Steam profiles, right? And like I have a couple extremely rare achievements in this game, just because nobody bought the DLC for it. For like, I'm like at this copperhead butterfly fish. I want it gone, but I because I have it set to the rarest achievements, it's like I have to find rarer achievements now than that to make it go away. And it's like, I hate it, but I love it.
If I can alter the question a little to like my guilty pleasure thing, because I don't play any games guilty pleasure, right? If anything, I'd say Final Fantasy 14 online, but like I'm very outwardly addicted to that game. I would say it's going on Netflix and watching any like magic related show, like teen drama, magic, witches or fairies type thing. I really enjoy series like that. They're all terrible, or most of them are terrible, but I really enjoy them anyway.
Okay, I have a guilty pleasure like that too. I enjoy terrible, cheesy, made-for-TV, like disaster movies. Not like the super duper over the top ones, like, you know, Zombievers or something like that. Not those ones, but like
Not Birdemic?
yeah, no, no, not that. But it's like you remember, you know, everybody remembers Twister, right?
Oh yeah.
And then there is
That was an amazingly bad movie,
Twisters,
but amazingly
which is
good.
like a made-for-TV, you know, Twister movie. Like those type of movies. Like they're not like.
Yeah, 2020 and all of that.
They're not like terrible, like, you know, like, oh my god, like, ugh. Or they're like not over the top terrible, like Sharknado, but they're definitely not movie quality or anything like that. I enjoy watching those. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a guilty pleasure of getting to YouTube, and I get into like some kind of topic, and then I just watch like 7 years of videos from one channel for that one topic. Like I've been watching Try Channel like religiously, and I've gone through all that. Then I watched Sorted Food. Usually it's like food related things. I've watched like every single episode of that, and just like go like through a whole channel, and then like what's next? Oh, this channel. It's 5 years of content.
I have a content related guilty pleasure as well. I like really bad reality TV. Like I love Pawn Stars.
I love all of that. And,
like American Pickers, but I also like all of the car
I love those as
like repairing shows. And actually, like on that topic, I found a YouTuber pretty recently. I can't remember the name of the channel, but they have this show called Synth Wizards. And it's just these two guys in the States, or the small company in the States that repairs synthesizers, right? And they're kind of legendary in the music scene for like they built all of the synthesizers that why am I blanking on the name of the band now that Coldplay uses? And like they have a bunch of like connections in the music industry like that. But the show is it's like just this dad's like vlogging channel basically, but it's presented and edited like a 20-minute long reality TV show. And it's just like, so we went out on this day to go collect this synthesizer from Toby's backyard, and it's broken, but we're gonna fix it. And it's that kind of stuff. And it's like, I could just like eat this content for years. A show on Netflix that I adored is Rust Valley Restorers. It's a car restoring show, and it takes place in Rust Valley, which is just north of Hope, BC. I've been there. I've seen those types of people that are in that show, and they set a car engine on fire with gasoline in the first episode. Best entertainment on TV. Stupid, and I love it.
Yeah. Also on YouTube, if you like stuff like American Pickers, there's several of these channels where they go to like flea markets and yard sales and kind of do the same kind of picking. And it's a lot of like geeky stuff and games and all of that, and those are really amazing to watch if you want like the picker kind of thing.
Yeah, just like Flea Market Madness by Pat the NES Punk.
That's
a good show.
That's a good one. Yeah.
It's Flea Market Madness. Anyway, enough shouting out to friends of the show. Do we have any other questions in here? Diligent Goose got one that Belannaer could read.
How did you guys meet, and why did you decide to form the team? And I guess that's for you and Blind and FG more than the rest of us.
I mean, we could talk about how we all met, like, individually, too.
True.
Yeah. FG, do you want to take this one, or should I?
I mean, honestly, I thought about this, and I know we met in the Green Man Gaming community Discord.
Directly, yes. But I knew about you already before.
Yeah, same. But that was like the online space where we interacted, right? The most.
Yeah. First.
Yeah. How did we come up with this idea, though? I can't remember.
I mean, I've been streaming, and I think we've all been, or all of us except for maybe Suwey here, been streaming for kind of a very long time, or at least started like when Twitch was kind of in its infancy, right? And as time progressed, I ended up in a number of different teams, a lot of them huge. Me and Belannaer actually ended up in one team called the Sovereignty for a bit, which folded when the founder went to go work for Paradox. And a lot of those teams were either borderline pyramid schemes or just like massive friends lists, really. And I always kind of envied the smaller, like, core teams of people that build a thing and do a thing with the thing that they've built. I always envied that. I flirted with the idea with a YouTube channel with a bunch of YouTubers that I knew for a bit, and that kind of fell apart. One of the members of that team was Fog, who did all of the branding for Halcyon Frequency. So all of the art that you see on Halcyon Frequency related things was done by Fog. So shout outs to him. But I always wanted to kind of do that. And in the Green Man Gaming Discord, I'd known about FG for a while. Like I'd been streaming RimWorld for a while, and I remember seeing FG streaming RimWorld. Same with like Oxygen not included in other games. And I recall your name before you went on break, and then you went on break for a long time, and then I remember seeing you pop back up. I want to say I followed you at that point too. I think I unfollowed you when you were on your break, and then refollowed you after. And we just kind of got to talking, and at the time, Green Man Gaming was trying to do something with this Discord and like thing of partners that they had
and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And they actually did some neat things for a little bit. They got a bunch of us like volunteering to like make little videos for the YouTube channel, and they did some things for a little bit there. In fact, if you go to the Green Man Gaming YouTube channel and you dig, you might find a video or two by me. But there was a lot of frustrations in there. And it became very quick that like people on there were complaining and people started leaving because like Green Man Gaming, bless them, they are not very organized as a company. And they are notorious for just like having a bunch of neat ideas and committing to them for like 3 weeks and then forgetting that they committed to any of them. And me and FG just started talking at a point, and I think I just threw out the idea that like I just want to start a small team, like maybe like 10 people max. And then the idea just started bouncing off from there, I think.
Yeah, because basically that, because there was so much happening there. There were a lot of, at the time, there were this like core group of people that were like very, very, very active, and very supportive of each other as well. Like I still like talk with people from that community quite regularly, like Kazat, for example, Kiske. I see Ace around, and oh god, I'm blanking.
I remember Drogoth.
Yes, I'm also blanking on the name.
They're still around.
Oh my god.
Switched to Mixer for a bit, but came back.
Yeah, no, but anyways, there's a whole bunch of people there that, they were really active and really supportive, and we all just
kind of wanted to do that. I guess maybe.
Yeah, we all wanted to do something, and it was unfortunately just not that place. Like there were ideas, because I remember because I got affiliated with GMG back in the day, like back in the day in like 2015, where people would actually regularly stream on the GMG channel. Like I streamed on the GMG channel for quite a while. Like, weekly there were shows, and there's a lot of other like bigger streamers that did that as well. And there were a lot of really neat ideas, and then that all kind of like slowly fell apart, and that Discord kind of just.
It's what happens when you don't pay people.
Yeah, also
people realize they're getting used at a point.
Yeah, not even just that. It's just like stuff just became worse and worse and worse, and just stuff slacked off more and more, and we kind of wanted to just have this group of people to help and support each other, and we really all met. Like we had this idea already, and we were going to do it, and then like we found the team, and then we met some more people at TwitchCon 2019, where a lot of us actually met for the first time. Like I had met Belannaer before, and Kiri at the TwitchCon Europe, Berlin, and then half a year later. By that time we had found the team already, but half a year later, the other half basically of the team met, like Suwey, Evil Trick, Blind was there, Diadorf was there at the time, because he was one of the very early members. Shout out to Dyer.
Shout outs to Dyer.
Yeah, and it kind of just grew from there, because we realized we kind of vibed IRL together as well, and Jess was there also as well. So
yeah,
Yeah.
With the initial core group, it was Belannaer, FG, myself, and Kiri was kind of the original crew. I knew Belannaer, FG also knew Belannaer, and FG knew Kiri. So I didn't know Kiri until she joined the team. And I think it was kind of funny when we announced the name initially, because like I immediately got it was either so he either added me or he DM'd me. I can't remember. It was Cringer. It's just like, Blind, did you come up with that name? Who let you come up with that? I'm like, I didn't come up with that. He's like, that just it sounded like a band name, so I assume it was something you did. I was like, well, I mean, kind of, but
it's a good name.
So
yeah,
it is a good name.
I know a lot of people also, like those of us who started streaming a bit later, did meet through the hot potato. At least that's how I met everyone in there.
Yeah, true.
It was kind of a thing that I devised, and I had a person I was working on it with back then too. And I met a lot of people, including FG, including Kiri, including Blind, including pretty much the entire team through it. So
yeah, and then shortly, I guess after TwitchCon, we had like we had the original team, which was FG, myself, Evil Trick, Dire Dwarf,
and Belannaer.
And Belannaer, and then we. Am I forgetting somebody? Or because like I'm counting on my hand and I'm like missing somebody. Anyway, and then after TwitchCon ended, we brought Suwey on because of like your work on the hot potato. That was kind of like, did I say Evil Trick?
I thought you did. Yeah,
anyway.
that was yeah.
Anyway, and then we brought in Suwey, and that brought us up to 7. No, I'm not. I'm not missing anybody. And then we brought in Suwey, and then I think I just didn't list myself. We brought in Suwey, and that brought us up to 7. And then
Jess joined later.
Jess joined a little bit later because like it was kind of funny because people just thought Jess was part of the team for a while there.
Yeah,
even though she wasn't.
It was already So
yeah, like people just assumed Jess was on the team, and then like that assumption just kind of became into a reality. We announced it on an after hours session, which by the way we can talk about in a second. We got an after hours coming up. So we just had Jess on, and then literally we played Uno for like 30 minutes before like we did that. Has nobody like realized that Jess is here?
And nobody did.
Jess is on the team now, by the way. We were kind of hoping it would be like, oh my god, Jess is on the team, but like, it took a while for me to like clue into that.
It was funny, kind of.
Yeah. But yeah, then Jess joined, and then a little bit later, Dire left because of like just creative differences, and now here we are.
Yep.
It's been almost getting close to 3 years. Good lord,
which is insane. Oh god.
Yeah, we've now we have a website and a podcast, which means we are now, I don't know,
something
eternally linked. Something. But
yeah.
I think anybody else want to say anything else on that topic? I think that's kind of a brief history of a Halcyon Frequency.
Yeah, that kind of is it. I think, yeah.
FG, you're hosting After Hours.
I am, yeah. So if you're not familiar with us, we obviously all stream on Twitch. You can find all the links on the halcyonfrequency.com website, in case you're listening through one of the podcast apps or over on YouTube. We all stream on Twitch, and every other week we do what we call Halcyon After Hours, which is kind of an informal game night. We play just multiplayer games, board games often, but not this time. This time instead we're doing RTS Monday on a Friday on Halcyon After Hours. Cause
RTS Monday on a Friday on an after hour.
Yeah. After Hours RTS Monday on a Friday. Because we are playing some Age of Empires 4, and probably we're gonna need some people from the community. So if you have Age of Empires 4, be on my Twitch channel, FGsquared. That's just the letters F and G and then the word squared, at 7 p.m. GMT on the 28th of January.
Yeah, and it's also on Game Pass, so if you don't have Game Pass and you're willing to give corporations lots of money, usually they have a $1 deal where you can just like get Game Pass for $1 and then just, hop in and play. It'll just be funsies. It'll be a good time. But I think that kind of brings this episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast kind of to a close. So let's start at the bottom of this call, skipping me up to Belannaer, and I'll go last. Suwey, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah. You can find me on Twitch. It's just Suwey, Suwey. It's also just Suwey on YouTube. I have a Discord server as well. You can find me in the Halcyon Frequency Discord server, and then you can find me on Twitter at Suwey Streams.
And FG?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere. If you just search for FGsquared, except on Twitter, there's a sneaky underscore between the words FG and squared. And yeah, I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and yeah, I've started finally doing regular video game reviews again on my YouTube channel, so you should go check those out.
Hell yeah. Belannaer, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me everywhere as well. Just Belannaer, basically everywhere. Just Google, you'll end up somewhere. I've been on a Monster Hunter and Eco boat for last week or so, and I'll probably be on that for next week as well, playing lots of Eco and lots of monster hunting.
And
if that floats your boat.
But before I shout myself out here, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to help us out here, getting iTunes reviews is like pulling teeth. But if you have Podcast Addict, Overcast, iTunes, or Stitcher, or any of the other podcast platforms that allow reviews, please just I don't know, talk about how much you love Monster Hunter Rise, or what you ate for lunch yesterday. Just make sure that you click the 5 stars button. That's the important one. The review doesn't actually matter, so it doesn't matter what you put into the review section. Just make sure you give it the 5-star rating, if that because that really helps us out. Of course, you could bookmark the website and other things. There's a lot of ways that you can help us out there, but just go follow the podcast and share it around. And if you listen to podcasts and this podcast is not available on a podcast platform that you use, DM me at BlindiRL just on Discord or on Twitter, and I'll fix that. And as far as me, you can find me as just BlindiRL on everything. I don't have Instagram and I don't tweet very often, but you could follow me on Twitter if you want. But yeah, that's about it. Also, I do like game developer interviews on YouTube, and people seem to like those. I think that is everything for this episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. We'll see you next Sunday. And I don't really have a proper outro thing to say. We'll figure that out as time goes on. But if we could all just say goodbye at the same time and blow out everybody's microphone, that would be fantastic. So goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.